You found yourself on another episode of Locked On Bulls. On today's episode, me and Pat are going to break down the Bulls draft lottery odds. We're also going to talk about the 9 years it's been since a home playoff win for the Chicago Bulls. And we're going to finally get back to doing our season reviews, this time for Julian Phillips and Dalen Terry. All that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, a member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That's Pat the Designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central and Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 with any winning $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Pat, let's jump into it, man. The draft lottery is Sunday. Snuck up on us, man. I thought it was closer to the end of the month. It is Sunday. The Bulls have right now they're slated for the 11th chance. They have a 9.4% chance to move into the top 4 and a 2% chance to get the number 1 overall pick. How do you think luck on draft lottery night could affect or change the Bulls' direction this offseason?
I mean, listen, having pick of the litter is never bad. This is not a great draft on paper, right? But how many times have we said this was not a great draft and then some star is found out of there?
Tyrese Halliburton?
Tyrese Halliburton.
Even though he's been playing like cheeks other than last night.
He played pretty well last night. But yeah, he's been pretty trash for the most part. Still found a way to lose. But no, it's tough because, right, like the fear for me has nothing to do with the chances or the odds. Listen, the odds fell in our favor once, and we got the 4th overall pick. And you look back at that draft now, and you go, "There's, oh man, what if we had Tyrese Maxey? Oh man, what if we had Tyrese Halliburton? Oh man!" Like as you start to look through the players that you didn't end up getting, my mind instantly just goes to, okay, how's the player eval on these guys, right? Mm-hmm. Because guess what? Even in the Dalen Terry draft, right, there's been players that we look at and we're like, that would have been nice on this team, right? Like my concern is more so on AK and those guys. Luck would help, but you can get lucky and absolutely shoot yourself in the foot. And I think that's what the Chicago Bears or Chicago Bulls have done for, a good duration of this AK period. There have been opportunities where it's like, this could be a franchise altering move. Somebody's willing to give you something. You're going to get a draft pick that's going to help you out. And the Bulls haven't taken advantage of that. That's more so my concern. But I mean, listen, if the odds fall in our favor, I guess there's more odds to not screw up than there are to screw up. So I'll take the least amount of screw up as there is.
Technically, there's more chances to mess up because you're higher up. You have more players.
You're screwing up on more players. So yeah, I mean, it's tough, dog. It's really sad. Like you look at these moments that if like instead of AK saying no, and this is how GMing goes, right? If you look at the Bears, if Ryan Poles says no to the Panthers trade because he wants to wait for something better, we're not here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's so many the small yes and no moments that change your franchise, and AK is sucked at hitting on them early on. You know what I mean? Like the Zach LaVine trade that the Knicks offered. Never gonna see that again.
It sucks when the 2% chance of something is not what you're worried about. You're worried about your front office's ability to evaluate the talent, right? Like, and that's I asked that question over on Central too a couple of days ago, and I think that like it's a real question to ask. It's like, all right, cool. Let's say the Bulls do move into the top 4, great, but then we got to look at a whole different set of problems. Are you guys going to go high potential again and maybe not hit on that? Are you going to go are you going to miss on this is not a super deep draft as far as star talent, but there's some really good players that can be starters for you in a long time. And as you said, there's always in every single draft, no matter how weak or strong it is, there are some perennial all-stars that come out of most drafts, right? Yeah. So you hopefully that we can be on the right side of history. That won't be told right away, but it's really frustrating, bro. It's just really frustrating where we've been right now. So,
and I mean, if you're really looking at it, right, when top 5, what are you hoping to get? Nikola Topic? Yeah, I mean, like what's the big
Sarr,
get
Alexander
for,
Sarr.
well,
is
that's if
one.
we get the number 1 overall pick. If we get the number
Sarr,
1 overall
Sarr
pick.
may not go number 1 overall. I don't know if you like. It's so fluctuating with Sarr because some have him as number 1. So I've seen him go as low as like number 5 or 6 in some, and it's like, how is this where people are starting to do too much thinking on the draft? Is that what's happening?
I think that's more of it. Listen, I think here's my thing: fall in the lottery in the slightest, and there's one name out there that nobody's putting on lists. I don't know if NBA teams are looking at him realistically or not, but it's TSJ. And I think
everything else around TSJ is probably why you're hearing not a lot of people talk about him. Question,
absolutely,
yeah.
But if we're not gonna if we're taking chances on high potential here, yeah, let's not let a pending case stop some high potential.
I mean, that may, this is AK we're talking about. It probably will. But the question I was going to throw to you, Pat, is that let's say the Bulls do get top 4 because of this draft. And I know that Bulls fans aren't going to like it because they're not really looking at prospects. They're just going to think that the Bulls gave up a top 4 pick. If trading down gets you anything, recoups you more draft assets in the future. We don't see it a lot. It's not like the NFL where you trade down a couple of spots, you get a whole haul
right,
back.
You get a haul, right?
Yeah, but if you do, let's say you do move down 2-3 spots and still can get your Terrence Shannon Jr. or your any other pick, Khalil Ware, whoever else you have on the board.
Ron Holland, maybe.
Should the Bulls look at that? Should the Bulls consider all options when it comes to that? Or do you think hold on to it? This is that would be the highest pick that we've had since P. Will, and let's just take whoever you have best available on your board.
Absolutely, because a lot of the mocks I'm seeing, right, a guy like Cody Williams, who seems like he's somebody who would fit the Bulls, seems like he's somebody who can score the basketball really well, something that you would need. Although, coming up heavy on the Tony Snell face department. Yeah,
yes,
I mean, like
very heavily on the Tony Snell face department.
Very tough. Yeah, I mean, very tough to see.
Could
Maybe
you
this
imagine
time
if
you
Tony
get it
Snell
right.
had turned into something and we had to look at him for a decade? Could you imagine? Bro, like I was watching the game before Milwaukee got eliminated, and I'm like, bro, like I couldn't look at Chris Middleton every single night as being a player on my team. I couldn't do it.
Not being as mid as he is, you know what I mean? Like you could deal with weird looking dudes when you're like, but he's so good.
Yeah.
Like when the ugly is the second thing, be like, oh, what do you think about him? Bro, be cooking, bro. I mean, like he a baller, bro. That boy ugly though. You know what I mean? Like when it's that, I mean, that's different than like, hey, Tony, what's going on? Can we still make the goofy jokes about Tony after everything that's come out about? I don't know.
Yes,
don't care.
Yes, we can. Yes, he can still get flamed. Yes.
But no, I say all that. To say the fact that you could trade down and get somebody like a Cody Williams or Terrence Shannon Jr. or a Filipowski, right? Like there's still names that it seems like it fits kind of the Bulls' needs. I wouldn't be opposed to the Chicago Bulls trading down. Now, the difference is that in the NBA, right, one player can change everything. Your biggest question is that one player in this draft? And are you going to regret? Is this well, I don't think anything's a fireable offense for AK, which is a whole other issue, right? So if the Bulls had the opportunity, I would love to see them do that. I just don't know, right? Unless you're getting the number 1 overall pick, what is like the 3rd overall pick netting you? For a team that's coming in 10th, right? Because you would assume 10 or 11 is probably your 8, 9, 10 teams. So that means that you're giving them a talented player, or at least a somewhat talented player that they think that they can build their team with. Yeah. So are you giving a team a player that takes them from a 9 or 10 seed to a 4 or 5 seed? Because now you're talking about, oh, we got this pick next season. It's the 9th or 10th pick.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that AK hasn't always done well, is look at the future of things, right? So I guess we'll see, bro. We'll see, man.
See what it ends up being, my guy.
I'm not nervous in a sense, but it's just like I don't trust AK to get this right, and I hate being in that place. I really hate being in that place.
I'm not nervous in the slightest. I fully expect him to screw it up. You know what I mean? Like I'm not even going into this with any like false expectations, any belief that there is a he's going to get this pick right. This is finally the one, because I haven't seen him get one right yet.
Yeah, we'll see. So the last draft that was projected to be this week was the 2013 draft. The top 5 players taken in that draft were Alex Lynn, Victor Oladipo, Otto Porter Jr., Nerlens Noel, and Ben McLemore. You know who else was in that draft?
Who else?
Giannis Antetokounmpo taken 15th.
Oh, yeah. There's always somebody.
There's always somebody.
There's always, that's the one thing,
Rudy
right?
Gobert taken 29th.
And I think that's what sucks about this is I believe that this is that kind of draft.
Yeah.
And we don't. I don't believe we have a GM that finds that kind of talent, right? Marko Simonovic was the stash. He never made it on the court.
He was a second round pick, though. Like he was a second round pick,
but he was a second round pick. But right, he was supposed to be and maybe we hyped that up a little bit too much. But he was supposed to be, oh yeah, he's the guy that we found. We're gonna throw him in there. But then he's a second round pick. But then all of a sudden, AK's like, nah, give him the guaranteed money. Nah, pay this guy. He's coming over here. Here, it's his time. Here we go. It's like he couldn't get out the G League for like 20 minutes.
And we gave Io the 2-year, which ended up working out for us because he's on a really reasonable contract. But like, because imagine had we not gave Io, it all kind of worked out. Because had we gave Io the 3-year deal instead of the 2-year deal, he would have been free agency this year, and we would be paying that man a lot of money. So
yeah,
I guess we'll see.
I don't know, man. It's funny to it's funny to go into a draft. This must be what Koo feels like, to go into a draft and just feel like your GM's not going to get it right. Because this is the one thing, right?
Koo feels like.
I never felt that way with Garpax.
Exactly. Now they missed a lot too, but we had confidence. A lot,
right? But I think here's the thing: you knew that they could find a Bobby Portis, a Daniel Gafford.
Yeah, but I gotta cut you off. You gotta end this segment, bro. You finna start a whole new conversation.
I'm sorry. Speaking of Garpax, as we go into the next one,
next we're gonna be talking about the Bulls playoff win drought. Before we get into that, though, I gotta talk to you guys about a couple of our sponsors. First up is DoorDash. This Mother's Day, get something thoughtful for mom on DoorDash. Surprise her from wherever you are with fresh flowers, the latest tech gifts, self-care treats, gift cards, and more to make her day that much better. Does your mom have a sweet tooth? Is she a tech enthusiast, a beauty connoisseur, or is she outdoorsy? No matter what she's into, you can make her smile more with a fruit or flower bouquet, makeup, tech gear, workout wear, whatever, and more. Pair flowers with a gift card so she can celebrate any way she wants. Is she a bookworm? Try a bookstore gift card. Order now and get everything you need for Mother's Day on DoorDash. Use code LOCKEDONNBA to get 50% off your next order. Up to $15 when you spend $15 plus on your next flower, convenience, grocery, or retail order now on DoorDash. That's LOCKEDONNBA. Order using DoorDash today. Terms, of course, do apply. Also got to talk to you guys about another one of our sponsors. Is one you guys heard about a lot, and that is LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, what makes it the best place to hire. It gives you access to professionals you can't find anywhere else. LinkedIn does all that while making the process easy and intuitive. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats and might not have the time or resources to hire. LinkedIn is constantly finding ways to make the process easier. They even just launched a feature that helps you write job descriptions, making the process even easier and quicker. 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. All right, Pat. A 9-year playoff win drought.
Home playoff win should be.
Home win playoff win drought.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we did steal that one.
That one.
My son is 10 years old. 10. 10. You didn't mean to tell me in almost his whole entire life, he's gotten to see one home playoff win for the Chicago Bulls.
And he didn't even realize he was watching it.
He didn't even realize he was watching the game. He has no idea what he was doing. That's a long drought, bro.
Let me hit you with this. Let's hit you with the lineup that was on the floor for that game. Derrick Rose. There's the start. Joakim Noah, Jimmy Butler, Mike Dunleavy, Pau Gasol. Here's your bench unit: Kirk Heinrich, Taj Gibson, Doug McDermott, Nikola Mirotic, Nazir Muhammad, Etwan Moore, Tony Snell, Aaron Brooks, and you rounded it out with Cameron Bairstow.
So we didn't get a home win with the Rajon Rondo, Jimmy Butler, Dwayne Wade.
We came back up 0-2. Or we came back up 2-0 and then we got clapped. And then I think we took one in Boston again. No, we lost in 6, right? We lost in 6, right?
Yeah.
That didn't go to 7. So we came back up 2-0 and we never won a game again. We got swept after that. Yep. Tough. Now, if you're wondering on the game in question, it was the Derrick Rose coming off of the screen,
3-pointer
off of the glass, bang. Yeah, I mean, at least it was that, but it's so sad because the next option, and listen, as we gave Garpax praise right before we get out of the last segment, the next option was just, all right, let's get rid of this team. Let's get rid of everything about this team. We can't win with this team. This team is over, blah, blah, blah. The yeses and nos of GMing. You sent the Chicago Bulls down a 10-year drought.
You know what's funny, though? The last time that we won a playoff series was also, I think, 9 or 10 years ago. Yeah, and that was the 90. Go ahead.
That playoffs was the second round, so we would have won the
2015 playoffs. We won against Milwaukee in the first round, 4-2.
Yeah, and that's the one. Is that the one where Giannis bowed Dunleavy because he was giving him that work so nasty? I think it is.
It was.
I think it is.
That was. That's why
Giannis was still trash. That's how long ago this was. That's how long ago this was. Giannis was a player I was not worried about. I remember watching that and being like, this kid has no feet. He can't guard anybody. Mike Dunleavy is working him out on a consistent basis. And why the heck are they trying to make him a point guard?
OJ Mayo was still in the league when that happened, bro.
Oh, dog, 9 years ago. Let's go down the rabbit hole. What was I doing 9 years ago? 2015. I was preparing to get married. I was starting my career at AT&T that lasted 2 years. Oh God, there's so much stuff that was going on in 2015. This is what we should do. What are things that were popular in 2015? 2015, Drake was popular in 2015. Remember that?
I mean, technically, he was still popular as of 2 weeks ago. Now he's a meme, but hey, it is what
God.
it is.
Kanye dropped 4 or 5 seconds.
Oh, that's crazy. Hotline Bling came out. 50 Shades of Grey came out.
Oh, God.
Hamilton came out that year.
Here's one for you. Self-driving cars came out that year.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
25 best inventions of 2015. Self-driving cars. Samsung was dropping trucks. It's sad, crazy. Bro. It's sad. It's sad to see where
Caitlyn Jenner came into the world in 2015.
Okay, all right. Hey, welcome back. You know what I'm saying? I think the funny thing is, right, like you're sitting there now 9 years later, and you look at the Chicago Bulls. I would say you went from looking at a team that looked like they had hope and promise and that Derrick was going to get back on the court to now you're sitting here looking at a team going, I don't know what direction they're going to go to figure this thing out. 9 years later. And it had one blip. You've had one exciting moment of basketball in the Chicago Bulls since then. Well, I guess not, because you had the Rondo Bulls and stuff like that, but
that's crazy. That's just wild.
I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see what it ends up being. moving forward. But there's not a lot of hope here. Sorry to bring y'all down, guys. Hey, we'll finish things off with a Julian Phillips, Dalen Terry review of this whole season and kind of grading how they did. But first, we do have to tell you guys all about Monopoly Go. All right, game off. Got to pause here to talk more about Monopoly Go. I know what you're saying. Yo, that's going to be a tech, but there's just so much good stuff in this game. I know I already talked about it. In Monopoly Go, you can team up with friends for time tournaments where you work together to build up each other's boards. There's the more you win together, the more awesome prizes you unlock. And there's so much to get. Unique stickers. You can trade with your friends to complete big albums for big prizes. Cool new playing pieces to travel the board with. Hilarious emojis for taunting friends when you smash their buildings and heist their vaults. Plus, Monopoly Go feels new and exciting every day with constantly changing tournaments, challenges, a ton, including their own unique mini games like digging for treasure or robot pachinko machines. And there's always new timed events that help you win big, like massive multipliers for everything you win or rent frenzies. There's always something fun to discover in Monopoly Go. So get off the bench and go download it now for free on the Google Play or App Store. Game on.
All right, Pat, before we get out of here, something that we've gotten away from for almost a week. We were talking about the seasons of players, man. And yeah, it's time to get to the young guys, man. Julian Phillips, Dalen Terry. How do you look back on their seasons?
Julian Phillips to me is incomplete. I thought that he came out and he attacked well. I don't think he got a ton of opportunity. I thought that he had, he showed a lot of promise, and I hope that we see more from him. He's somebody that, at least in my mind, I have an inkling of like, all right, maybe he's actually a piece that you can have as a role player off your bench moving forward. I'm not one of those people that have this belief that, he turns himself into the face of the franchise, but I think there's some upside with him, at least 3-and-D upside for sure. When I look at Dalen Terry, I don't know, man. Like Dalen had a very up and down season to me. And I think it also coincides with up and down playing time as well. But there were times on the court where Dalen looked like he was absolutely needed, where he was taking advantage of his minutes, where he was facilitating the ball well. And then there were times on the court where Dalen Terry just looked absolutely lost. And maybe that goes into the scheme. Maybe that goes into kind of what the Bulls were doing, how the Bulls were utilizing him. The Bulls kind of trying to force him to be this point forward type of player, which, I mean, realistically is what they drafted him to be here. But like, Dalen is one of those guys that, listen, if you give him 25 minutes, he can give you 15 points. He can give you 5. He's a piece off of the bench that can be utilized. I'm not overvaluing either one of these guys. I thought that they both had solid seasons for what I expect them to be.
And I agree with you. I think that is the thing, is that for Dalen Terry, he showed even more flashes than before, but it was still just flashes and it still wasn't consistent. You do see like a possible way and a route that Dalen Terry can be a player off the bench for the Bulls and make some type of impact, right? But it's just you got to be consistent. Like he had the game where he made 3 threes, something like that, right?
Yeah.
So like we've seen it. It's there. It's been there. We've seen it a little bit, but with Dalen, I just want him to calm down, which he did a lot last season, and keep earning an opportunity. Julian Phillips, I think, showed a little bit more, right, in the time that he was given. And as his minutes were going up, unfortunately, that's where he got hurt, and then he fell out of the rotation. So it seemed like Billy Donovan was starting to trust him a little bit more, and then that fell off. So it is what it is when it comes down to that. But I like what both these guys showed in flashes. I just need to see it more consistent next season. I got to.
Well, and my thing is, right, Dalen Terry he brings a lot to the table, but he brings nothing offensively. And it's not going to work in this NBA. You can't bring nothing off. Like Dalen Terry literally brings nothing offensively. Like he's supposed to be this facilitating small forward type of player. I guess he passes the ball well in transition, but I mean, he's basically averaging an assist a month. Offensively, he basically has one game of excitement a month where he actually pops off and scores the basketball well. Congratulations, you're an NBA level player. Like,
yeah.
I like there's I like Dalen, but to say that Dalen Terry has done enough in his time in the NBA to quantify him as a future piece is tough for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and it's hard too, right? Because like to be a surefire future piece of a team, it takes, you got to show a lot, right? And that's not to say that you, like right now, Dalen looks like he can be the back end of a bench player. You need to be more than that to stick around.
You know what Dalen reminds me of, and I hope it works for his career. But right now, doesn't he have a little campaign vibes?
No, I think he looked like campaign was terrible the first few years of the season.
Campaign was terrible, but Dalen's not all that much better.
Better than what campaign, like what campaign was able to turn into when he went to, what team did he go?
Went overseas and then came back
and came back. Yeah, like was solid. Like, but what he was here with the Bulls, come on, bro. Campaign, like he looked like a rabbit out there running around. Like,
I mean, I hear you, but. And again, I know this started off very positive on Dalen, but he did what I kind of expected him to do. I want more from him, right? We remember beginning of the season when Julian Phillips started playing well, we were like, well, Dalen got passed up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's tough to say, it's tough to look at Dalen's game and say that he's leaps and bounds better. And my point of saying I hope he's campaign is that I hope he has this breakout year where all of a sudden you look at the game and you go, oh, he's finally figured it out. He's figured out his game. He's figured out how he fits into the NBA. Because a lot of guys don't get that opportunity. A lot of guys don't get that much time. Maybe it is him going overseas and having to do that. But like, I don't know, man. Like Dalen's just, I mean, like I know that he's our draft pick, and so we protect him a little bit more. People love the energy that he brings. I do love the energy. I love the fire. I love the ferocity. I love him dunking on people. But Dalen Terry's like a once a month, he has a 12-point game and we lose our minds.
Yeah. We'll see, man. Hey, I'm not as down as it seems like you are on Dalen, but at the end of the day, like
down on Dalen, I'm just whelmed. I need to be overwhelmed, which overwhelmed at this point on Dalen is like 6 points a game. Like average 6 points a game. It will be. I'm whelmed. I'm overwhelmed.
That's funny. We'll see, man. We'll see what Dalen turns into. Any last thoughts, Pat, before we get up out of here?
Nah, man. Appreciate y'all tuning in, showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. Leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do, man. Follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. Bang, bang.
You guys can follow me at CEO Haize. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls. We are free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube. For Pat the Designer, I'm Haize. It's been Locked On Bulls. We out here, y'all.
Peace.
What does OVO stand for?
Ricky at US 69 God. Bro, Joe Budden danced on the carcass of Drake. That's pretty funny.